Hey everyone, Zen Guardian here, and in this video I wanted to give you guys my reaction to my last video, which was the Thorn Flawless run. Now if you haven't yet seen that video, click the iCard above or the link that's in the description box down below and go watch that video, then come back to this video and we can get to discussion. Now this isn't going to be a review of Thorn or spitballing hard numbers or anything like that. We're going to be talking about real world scenarios, especially given the fact that we're talking about Trials of Osiris and endgame activity, and whether Thorn still stacks up in year 3 or if it's still the OP workhorse that it was in year 1. So if you're interested in knowing how somebody who went flawless with this weapon in year 3 thinks about it, then this video is for you. Now up front, I wanted to answer the age-old question, is Thorn still the bane of the Crucible? Is it still the weapon it was in year 1? 100% without hesitation, absolutely not. I'm not gonna say Thorn is complete trash, but it is not what it was before. It is not the OP weapon that you hated. It is not that weapon any longer. It is a decent weapon, and I think I'm more in love with the archetype of hand cannon that it is than the actual weapon itself. But as far as the meta goes today, it's very, very lackluster. Now up front, I wanted to talk about 3 things. I have 3 different categories that I wanted to go over in this video. First, damage and range. Second, the exotic perk and the burn. And third, how to use it effectively. Now, the first category, damage and range. You're not going to rely on this weapon to get your kills. That is just a fact. It doesn't do enough damage and the range is so little that you're just gonna feel like you're tickling your enemy all the time. Now on floating gardens, it really wasn't too much of a problem because this can be a very close range map, especially if you're working in the top key or mid or even bridge. It's a very close quarter scenario. So using Thorn here may not be the worst thing, but if you're thinking about using it on any sort of larger map, it's just not going to cut it. Every other gun is going to outgun you. Now, you do have to be very close, as I said before. And when I say very close, I mean fusion rifle to last word range. The range fall off on this weapon is extremely, extremely high. The damage that you will output from a range that is any farther than, say, a fusion rifle is just not worth it. It's not going to get you very far, and you're not going to get many kills solely using your hand cannon. Now, most kills, especially in Trials where everybody is running top tier armor, most kills took me about 4 to 5 rounds. Now, usually I would get 1, maybe 2 headshots, and I would be able to get him in 4 shots to kill any given opponent. And that was always when I was using just Thorn as a weapon. Now, we're gonna move into category 2 here so that I can make my point for category 3. But for category 2, we're talking about the burn. Now, the burn is almost forgettable. It doesn't exist in the way that it did before. Now, with the Thorn burn and with the firebolt grenade burn, you could solely rely on using that burn to kill your enemies. You could almost guarantee that if you hit someone with that weapon or you hit someone with that firebolt grenade and they had any sort of damage on them, you could almost burn them to death. Now, especially with Thorn, this is not the case. I ended up using the burn more as a tool. I ended up using it as a way to keep enemy shields off and not allowing them to recover very quickly. And that's more so how Thorn wants to be used. You need to use Thorn to keep their shields off so you can use other means to kill them, because you're not going to really rely on Thorn. It just doesn't have the damage output. So with the burn, there were so many times where I've had the opponent down to 1 shot and I would just hit him with that last shot and just expect the burn to kill him, and it never did. I don't know if Bungie put like a halt on it so that it can't kill you, because there were so many times where they were literally 1 shot and all it would take is 1, maybe 2 ticks of damage and it wouldn't kill them. So I was surprised so many times when that would happen. I would literally call out to my team, they're dead, because it was the last guy and I tapped him and all he had was 1 shot left. It didn't kill him. It didn't burn him. And it was baffling and it was very surprising, and I couldn't believe that you could feel the difference in that particular scenario. Whereas in year 1, you could almost rely solely on the burn. You would get 1, maybe 2 headshots and then the burn would take care of the rest. That is not the case in year 3. It is very much a tool. Now, with both the damage and the range covered and the burn covered, we get into the actual real world use or the effectiveness of Thorn in year 3. The way that I had my most success with this weapon was by using the initial damage and the burn to keep their shields off and then bum rushing with a shotgun. Now I could see on a bigger map, especially for you snipers out there, using Thorn to maybe 1 to 2 tap your opponent down and then finishing with a body shot. That was also a way that I was having a lot of success. But for me, on floating gardens in Trials, I was running a shotgun, and I found it best to just lay a couple shots downrange, keep their shields off, have them burn, and then very aggressively push with my shotgun and finish and get the kill. That's how I used it. That's how I ended up finding it most effective. Very early on in my card, when I was running it on my Warlock, I didn't realize that I wasn't going to get many kills with it. I was almost solely using Thorn to get my kills, and I was just getting stomped on. So that is not the way you want to use it. You want to use it in a way that's going to keep people's shields off, and you're able to either finish them with a grenade or some other source of damage. You're not going to rely heavily on Thorn itself. Now, I don't know if that's how Bungie initially designed the weapon or that's how they wanted everybody to use it, because in year 1 that was not the case. But now in year 3, I can honestly say I think Thorn is in a place where it fits in the Crucible. I won't say it's a part of the meta, because obviously the meta has a lot of good weapons right now. And on the subject of the meta, I will say that going against other primaries when you're just 1v1ing, this was not the weapon to do so with. I found my worst enemy to be a Blind Perdition, even over Hawksaw, even over Grasp. I'm not sure if it was just the fact that it was making me kick, or if the Thorn kick was a little bit too much to snap back and line up again, but the Blind Perdition almost every single time destroyed me in a 1v1 situation using the Thorn. But it was the Blind Perdition and the Clever Dragon that I found the most difficulty 1v1ing with the Thorn. Obviously, the Clever Dragon is a top tier weapon right now in the community. Everyone's talking about it, everyone's loving it. It's the Grasp of Malik archetype of pulse rifle, and I can definitely see why. Overall, guys, I'll say that Thorn probably doesn't have a place in the meta right now. It's probably one of those weapons that you'll pick up and be like, oh, well, I'm gonna use Thorn today because it's cool, but you're not going to seriously play endgame with it. It was definitely more of a burden than a breeze to go flawless with this weapon. If I had been using my Blind Perdition, or if I had been using my first curse, I probably would have had a lot more success, but I wasn't a huge fan, and I definitely was not impressed. So let me know if I'm crazy down below. Hit me in the comments section, but I think it is worth your time to at least go and get and try it for yourself. You may like it more than I do. I found it to be more of a tool for me. I used it in a more strategic way than just letting bullets fly and doing damage. I found that I was much more successful at keeping their shields off and going for that aggressive push with the shotgun than in any other scenario. I also found it to be very nice on my Warlock because I'm able to use a lot of zone grenades, which also keeps them backed up. So on top of Thorn, I'm able to chase them with an Axion Bolt or keep their shields low with the Arc Bolt grenade. So overall, guys, Thorn, if I'm gonna give it a rating, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. I'm gonna say it's not in the meta. There are a lot better weapons right now. Clever Dragon, Blind Perdition, Hawksaw, Last Word, all of these weapons will outgun Thorn easily. But let me know in the comment section down below how you guys feel about Thorn in year 3. Do you have one yet? If you do have one, do you enjoy it? Do you hate it? Any thoughts related to Thorn, let me know down below and we will get to discussion. But if you did enjoy this video, hit it with a thumbs up. It really does help the channel grow. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe on your way out, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. It's been ZG.
I'm out.